Okay, so in my last little video clip, I mentioned the transference of the Torah from Moshe down to where we have it now. And like I mentioned in my first comment in Deuteronomy 17, it says that all Israel has to obey the legal rulings of the judges. So who were these judges? Okay, so they had lesser judges, over smaller bodies of people, more local judges. And if they could not decide a case, then the ruling would go up to the Sanhedrin, and then they would rule the case, okay? This is very like our judicial system today, where we have legislation, a law on the books, right? A written law, and that's what the Torah is like the written law. But then we have judicial law, where you have judges who know the Torah, and actually know every language on earth, back in the day, originally, and understood the laws very well, and they're deciding case by case, because every situation is different, right? Not every court case is the same. That's why you need someone to decide and think over it and find out what is the just ruling. And so this is what we call the oral law. So it's the cases of like, well, in this situation, this is how the Torah means for this law to be applied, or this is how you were supposed to do this law. And I mean, what does this even matter to the original post, the conversation? So it is these judges that decided how a person can be joined to Israel. So, and you quoted from Isaiah 56, if someone joins a sojourner, or in the Hebrew, a ger. Now, in reality, it worked two different ways. You could have a ger toshav, which is your resident, someone who just said, okay, I'm not going to have any idolatry. I don't want idolatry. But I just want to dwell amongst Israel. And so they're, in a sense, joining the Israel people of Israel, but they did not make legal conversion to become an Israelite. Okay, and then you have your ger tzedek, your righteous convert, who legally went through this process. Again, based on Deuteronomy 17, the judges decide what that process is to become a legal Israelite, to legally join the people of Israel. Because you can have faith in Hashem, and Paul makes this case. He says, the faith of Abraham preceded the Torah of Sinai. And so you can have faith in Hashem, which it's faith that gives you connection, faith that gives you righteousness. But just because you have the faith of Abraham doesn't mean you're in the covenant of Sinai that came later through Moshe. And also we have to understand that the covenant of Har Sinai, because of the sin of the golden calf, is actually on a lower level. And that second set of tablets was different than the first set of tablets. And you need to share. You need to come over here and give her a hug. You need to share. And so because of the sin of the golden calf, we did not merit the initial Torah. And the second set of tablets in the Torah after that, which the negative commandments and the judgments were not given with the 10 Commandments. And we're not given before the sin of the golden calf. It's only after the sin of the golden calf that there's these negative aspects added to the Torah. And so we were given a Torah that fit our current state. And so it's a known concept in Judaism that there will be a Torah that is different in the age of Messiah. And it will be the same essence, but it will have a different, it'll be written in a different way, so to speak, just to put that plainly. So anyhow, again, how does this play in? So the idea that anybody who is connected to God through faith automatically becomes an Israelite, and I'm going to say a Jew. And it's very interesting because I've seen, this misinformation in the Hebrew Roots movement a lot. that Jews are only one tribe or whatever. And when we say Jew, we say that not because we think that all Israelites are Jews, are only from the tribe of Yehuda, but is because we do not know what tribe you belong to. Historically, because of our state of diaspora, because we've been exiled, because of all the trauma that we as the Jewish people have gone throughout the ages, we have lost that history. And we don't know what tribe we're from. Are we from Shimon or Reuven or Gad or Dan or Naphtali or Zebulun? We don't know. And so we take on the name Jew because Yehuda remained, and the 10 tribes were exiled. But who remained in the land of Judah? Who remained? Benjamin, Levi, and we see in Luke chapter 2 that Anna, the prophetess, who saw Yeshua, she was from the tribe of Asher, but she's a Jew from the tribe of Asher. And so that's how we use the term, is that we're, if you know, and there are Jews today that know that they're from Yehuda or from Levi, but if you're from the 10 tribes, you don't know. And so everyone is a Jew, okay? And that's how we use the term, and you see that in the book of Esther, Mordecai the Jew, who was from the tribe of Benjamin. So there's a biblical precedent for this. Anyhow, to explain that, because I like to use the term, like how do you become a Jew, but it's how do you become an Israelite, how do you become a Jew, it's the same thing. And so what did the judges in Deuteronomy 17 say the process was for someone to legally become a Jew? Because everyone who is connecting themselves to a tzaddik, which I believe Yeshua Nazareth is like the tzaddik, they have attached themselves to God because of their faith in the righteous Yeshua. And so does that make you an Israelite or not? And the fact is no, it does not. Because in order to be a Jew or an Israelite, you have to be either a convert through this legal process, according to Deuteronomy 17, according to the legal process established by the judges of Israel. You have to go through that process, or you have to be born of a Jewish mother. Those are the only two ways. And if you're not that doesn't mean that you don't have a connection to the God of Israel. It means you can dwell and be attached to Israel and be righteous, like Cornelius in Acts 10. The whole thing is that people are righteous because they have faith in God. And he never was established as a Jew in Cephas' vision, in Peter's vision. And so there's people that are righteous, attached to the God of Israel. He's giving tzedakah, he's praying, he has attachment to the God of Israel, but he's not an Israelite, he's not a Jew. Biblical precedent. So, but if somebody, really wanted, and why does it matter? This is why it matters, beloved friend. This is why it matters. Is because, though your heart is so good, you just want to obey, right? You just want connection to Hashem. And I love that, and I understand that, and I get that, and I bless that. And that is why the Rambam says that if any Gentile wants to do a mitzvah of the Torah, you can do it, and you'll get a blessing for it. You'll be connected to Hashem before it. And this is why in the Akedah in Bereshit 22, he says that I will bless you. Oh, I wish I had the passage in front of me. He says, "Oh, bless you, Arba," but that all the nations of the earth will bless themselves through you. And what does that mean? Is that our blessing that we have to offer is our connection to Hashem, our connection to God. And we're glad to offer that to anybody. But here's why it matters, and here's what the false teaching is that, unfortunately, I see coming from some of your posts and in this whole Hebrew roots movement. Here's the false teaching, is that if you are a Gentile, even though, according to the Torah, you are not legally obligated to the 613 mitzvot of the Torah, even though, like Cornelius, you are praying and giving tzedakah and living a righteous life, and this is the unfortunate misinformation and the lie and the false teaching that I see, even though you're a righteous person, because you are not keeping the Torah, you are in sin. And that is a lie. That is a lie. And it's not something that the Council of Jerusalem decided to put on anybody, and for good reason. And this is why Paul is rebuking the sect of the circumcision, who's saying, okay, these righteous people, they're coming into Israel, they want to be attached to us, they're joining the synagogue. What do we do with them? We have to get them circumcised. And the Council of Jerusalem, Yeshua's brother, Yaakov, James, over it, he's saying, no. We need to give them a few things to be faithful in and a path to slowly grow. We cannot require them to do this because they have faith of Abraham, attachment to God, and they're righteous. They have a righteousness. So we cannot say that they're in sin right now because of this. We need to give them a path forward. And of course, for many, and I would applaud it, and I would encourage you, look into halakhic conversion through a Jewish Beit Din. Look into it and message me privately, Look into, what does it mean to actually convert if you're actually interested in that. But it's not an obligation. It's not an obligation. You can do as many mitzvot as you want for a blessing. But you can't look at somebody, who's not obligated, who's not in the Torah of Har Sinai, and say that you're in sin. Because it's not true, and you can't back it up biblically. Now, if they're breaking one of the mitzvot that applies to them, like if they are hurting animals, they're, like one of the last law given to Noah, because you're not allowed to eat the limb of an animal while the animal is still alive, okay? And obviously, the laws given to Noah and Adam, like no murdering, no adultery, and also one of those laws is you have to set up courts of justice. And so the Gentiles are obligated to live righteous lives with no idolatry. No idolatry. It's not allowed. And that's where we can unite, right? Is the God of Israel is the only God. And that's where we can have unity. But without proper learning and without understanding the Torah, I hear this false teaching come out, and I wanted to address it. And I hope that we can have a really good discussion about it. So, Shalom, Yom Tov, have a good day.